Hello everybody, this is Rob Royale, and welcome back to another reading of Vinyl and Octavia University Days by DawnFade on FimFiction.net. This is actually the second time I'm recording chapters 3 and 4. I actually completed the entire project, and after finalizing it, realized there was a terrible feedback in the audio system that was driving me insane, and that music could not cover up, and also I couldn't find good music to cover it up, really. So this is my second take at it. Hopefully it'll go a lot better. I'm using a different recording system, actually using the iMovie recording system. I don't have money for a mic, so bear with me. But let's just see how this goes. Hopefully this will be recorded with no problems whatsoever, and sound a little bit better. Alright, as I said, this is chapters 3 and 4. Let's get started. The dark coldness swept over Vinyl's body, but she didn't feel it. Her phone floated before her eyes, wrapped in a haze of white. Red lights blinked in her peripheral vision, burning the late hour into the darkness. Her bed was soft but small, and the apartment was not much larger than it, but the DJ's mind was not on her surroundings. To Octavia. Hey. She gritted her teeth at the words, but after a moment she sighed and tapped at the screen. Draft deleted. With a groan, she rolled onto her stomach and pressed her face into the pillow. The phone hovered patiently until she turned back over for another attempt. To Octavia. What's up? It's 3 in the morning. I'm asleep, Vinyl. You're an idiot. The unicorn mumbled in a poor imitation of Octavia's voice. A magical tendril fumbled for the delete button. Message sent. Her heart jumped with a lance of shock, and she bolted upright. No, she whispered. Not now. Not at this time, damn it! For a few precious seconds, Vinyl maintained the hope that perhaps Octavia didn't sleep near her phone, and thus wouldn't hear it go off. Sweat trickled down her brow as the minute ticked by. Just before she started to relax, a soft ringing filled the air. Oh, buck me! Incoming call. From Octavia. Oh, buck me! There was no way out of it. Octavia knew Vinyl was with her phone. She had to answer it. In her sleep-deprived state, the DJ considered not answering and leaving town so she never saw the cellist again. Saner thoughts prevailed. Hey, Vinyl said nervously. Why in Orchestra are you texting me at 3:15 in the morning? Replied an amused yet still very sophisticated voice. I couldn't sleep. So you decided to inflict your misery on me as well? She winced. Sorry. Don't worry, I'm joking. As it happens, I can't get to sleep either. Why? Vinyl rolled over and curled up, a little smile replacing her fearful expression. My brain refuses to stop thinking. Yeah, I know the feeling. What are you thinking about? Well, I was actually thinking about you, Vinyl. Her heart beat a little faster. Yeah? She asked, hoping her voice didn't sound too hoarse. You know what I said at the tavern about not having friends? Yeah? Well, I was thinking that I was so lucky to be forced to get to know you better. It's a strange feeling, having... A quiet sniffle from the other side of the line made Vinyl's chest hurt. I'm sorry. Something about being up late at night makes me more open. It's okay. I understand. It's the same with me, too, replied the DJ comfortingly, followed by an almost inaudible, Please don't cry. I'm okay. I shouldn't even be crying, because this is a good thing. I suppose what I'm trying to say is, thank you. Hey, I should thank you too. None of my friends are very close, so it's nice to know you're there. Octavia giggled. I'm not going anywhere, that's for certain. My degree will take a while. Yeah, mine too. But we'll kick flank and take names before we're done. You and me, got it? She didn't mean to sound so violent, but the thought of spending more time with her new friend got the DJ excited. Absolutely, friends forever. Octavia sounded equally excited. Groaning, Vinyl smiled in the darkness. That was pretty lame. Oh, hush you. I've always wanted to say that. Now you say it too, so it's official. After a moment of silence, the unicorn swallowed her pride. Friends forever. You wouldn't know how to mix a sub-bass if your life depended on it, screamed Vinyl. And you wouldn't be able to tune a custom cello to orchestral standards with any degree of competence, Octavia shot back. Sykes scratched his chin with interest. You know, I really thought you two would be fast friends. Maybe I'm losing my touch. For a moment, the pair felt slightly guilty at making the tutor doubt himself. Or maybe you need to hang out a couple more times. The guilt vanished quickly. I think that violates my rights as a citizen of Equestria, namely the prohibition of cruel and unusual punishment. Vinyl made a mental note to compliment that particular insult after class. Oh yeah? Well, you were so busy talking to yourself at the bar that I could have left and you wouldn't notice. It was an average comeback, and Vinyl felt her will to continue the charade weakening. Thankfully, Psyche finally decided to end it himself. Alright, settle down, you two. A chorus of disappointed groans echoed from the rest of the class, and the exchange of bits implied some sort of gambling had taken place. Let's get back on track. I've already gone over your coursework today, but we still have half an hour before this class technically ends. So how about we have some suggestions about what our favorite pair does this week? Bonbon raised her hoof in the air with a smirk. How about a candlelit dinner? She giggled with a green mare beside her, who had a lyre on her flank. Some of the other ponies also chuckled, apparently aware of a joke Vinyl couldn't see. Octavia glared at Bonbon, hoping the red in her cheeks would pass as fury. Some might call her a prude, but she knew very well what was being implied. Maybe something a little less likely to end in homicide, Psyche suggested, yet his grin clearly said he was in on the joke too. How about a movie? You won't have to talk to each other much then. Vinyl was careful not to agree too quickly, instead scowling at the tutor for a few seconds before nodding slowly. Whatever. At least in the dark theater I won't have to look at her face. That's the spirit. And you, Octavia? The cellist sighed as if the mere thought of going to a movie with the unicorn was exhausting. Very well, if you insist on continuing this silly exercise, but Vinyl has to pay. Snorting back a harsh laugh, the green unicorn beside Bonbon whispered to her loudly, Well, it is customary for the stallion to pay for his mare. There was a moment's pause before the students erupted into rowdy laughter, hooting and whistling at the beet-red targets of the joke. For once, Psyche didn't join them. Lyra, that was uncalled for. I like a good one-liner as much as any pony, but let's try and tone it down a bit, okay? Sorry, Chief, she said, snapping off a salute and eliciting more giggles from Bonbon. Alright, class. Make like it's winter and wrap it up. I'm sure you all have classes to go to. As they shuffled out into the sunlight, the DJ resisted the urge to walk next to Octavia too eagerly, managing a sort of irritated trudge that the gray mare matched with a more dignified equivalent. Only when they reached the safety of the busy court did they let the act slip slightly. Their classmates had dispersed to attend to their own lives, and no pony gave the pair a second look. You really gave me a run for my bits with that cruel and unusual punishment line, remarked the grinning DJ. Yes, I'm quite proud of that one. I actually thought it up during a history lecture when we were talking about ancient treaties that govern the rules of war. Octavia blew a strand of hair out of her eyes and glanced at Vinyl. The unicorn was looking around the court, unaware she was being watched. Her electric blue mane with cyan highlights seemed so unruly that it suited her perfectly, like a mixture of fun and beauty. The cellist almost envied her. You know, that actually sounds pretty cool. Maybe I should ditch one of my classes and take that instead. For every interesting ancient warfare document we study, there are 1,000 boring political declarations. You would be bored out of your mind, sweetie. Vinyl stopped walking and looked at the gray mare. Sweetie, she repeated, raising an eyebrow. Are we not allowed to do nicknames yet? Sorry, I'm not really good at this. Octavia shifted her hooves nervously. Well, Sweetie isn't really a nickname. It's more of a... She coughed and continued in a lower voice. Pet name. Oh! The sight of blood rushing quickly into the cellist's cheeks made Vinyl chuckle. In an effort to lessen the embarrassment of her friend, she resumed walking normally, flicking her tail to indicate Octavia should follow. You want me to pretend that didn't happen? Yes, please. No worries. Besides, nicknames are never just chosen. They're made. Just call me Vinyl for now, though, okay? Okay, so... She cleared her throat to get back on topic. Why don't you leave one of your classes, then? Your company might actually make the lectures bearable. Well, I don't really have any that I can afford to lose. I mean, musical theory is off the table for obvious reasons. I really like drawing so far. The absence of her third class only drew more attention to it. Why not drop psychology? I've seen you in class when we aren't arguing, and you always looked bored. Well, because... Vinyl trailed off, mumbling. Pardon? Because it gives us a reason to hang out, she quickly finished, flushing as she looked away to scan the groups of ponies scattered on the court for any observers. I like spending time with you as well, Vinyl. A mutual smile passed between them as the DJ turned back. It soon became apparent that each pony was trying to lead the other in a different direction. Octavia, don't you want to go to the food court? My history tutorial starts in a few minutes. I thought you were walking me there. Vinyl chuckled. Oh yeah, my bad. Where is it again? Sighing, the cellist turned and led the way. There were two main reasons why Vinyl didn't hang around after Octavia joined her class. One, it would be awkward as hay if the gray mare looked out the window and saw her waiting. And two, she totally had her own stuff to take care of. She wasn't so lonely that she needed to hang around waiting for her friend to finish school. The DJ had her own friends and activities to do. Yep. Half an hour later, her friends and activities stared back up at her from the bottom of a mug. The University Tavern wasn't as run down as her usual bars, but it was definitely showing its age. A plaque above the door helpfully informed her that this was one of the first buildings erected when the university was being built. As amusing as it was to know that one of the priorities when building an educational campus was a place to serve alcohol, it wasn't enough to distract her from the problem at Hoof. Come on, Vinyl, get it together, she muttered before licking a final droplet of hard cider from the rim. You've got plenty of friends to hang out with. Don't get so attached to one of them. The words rang hollow in her ears. A little voice piped up from the back of her mind. But she's so interesting. No, she's not. I'm just bored and she helps me burn time. Is that why I hang on every word she speaks? Leave me alone! Pushing the mug away, she rested her head in her hooves on the table. A snort came from behind her. I haven't even said anything yet, said Psyche, taking a seat beside Vinyl. She snapped to attention, looking at the teacher with wide eyes. Hey. Relax, I'm not here to torture you. I come here for a drink after class sometimes. Cool. It felt so awkward talking to a teacher in this setting, like two different areas of her life were colliding. The tutor sighed and seemed to lose some of his cheer. You know, I'm just having a bit of fun in class, right? I didn't realize it bothered you so much that you'd spend the afternoon grumbling into a cup of cider. Huh? Quickly realizing how she must look, the DJ sat up straighter and cleared her throat. I'm not drinking about that. But you should still feel pretty damn bad, though. Psyche chuckled and raised his hooves defensively. Hey, teaching can be pretty boring. I think it's lucky that you and Octavia happen to take the same class. No matter how much crappy paperwork is on my desk, I can always look forward to the next showdown. I think she won today, by the way. Yeah, laugh it up. Vinyl suddenly wished she hadn't pushed the mug away so she could splash a few droplets in his face. Don't worry. I'm sure you'll get her next time. Maybe try something about her hair. She seems to be sensitive about it, suggested the stallion helpfully. She raised an eyebrow. Really? Definitely. Or if you want to get on her good side, maybe try complimenting it instead. She has a good side? Vinyl quipped on reflex, but her thoughts were far from malicious. The tutor barked a laugh. Nice one. I guess there's not much chance of reconciliation between the two of you then. Any hope of our friendship died when she said being a DJ doesn't take any skill. Her voice was as firm and convincing as she could muster. Yeah, I figured as much. Oh well, good entertainment's hard to come by anyway. The white unicorn slipped off the seat and stretched her hooves. Thanks for the chat, but I gotta bail. Parties to go to, basslines to drop. Later. Psyche just nodded and half raised a hoof in a farewell gesture that doubled as a signal to the bartender, who began mixing the usual. The second Vinyl was outside, her phone floated out of the pouch in her saddlebags and she drifted before her the purple lens of her shades. After some quick tapping, it returned there safely. As the white pony trotted away, she began to whistle. Octavia heard a faint rumble in her bags as they lay beside her seat. The old tutor droned in the background as she suddenly slid the offending object, her phone, out and checked it below the table, well out of the tutor's line of sight. Vinyl. Your mane is pretty cool. Chapter 4. You know, I've never been to this cinema before, remarked Octavia. The lobby was large, but still held the atmosphere of a small business, cozy and warm, lacking the cold commercialism of most theater chains. It was a delightful discovery, and she couldn't be happier about it. Duh, this is affordable, giggled the DJ, floating 2 boxes of popcorn above them. The cellist shoved her playfully. You know I was joking when I said you have to pay, right? It's only fair that I take care of the tickets since you got the food. For a moment, Vinyl felt the urge to insist on paying for her friend, until a mint green unicorn's comment from their last tutorial swam to the forefront of her mind. Sure, I guess that makes sense, she replied, feeling somewhat cheap. Octavia just smiled and trotted up to the counter. 2 tickets to... Vinyl, what are we seeing? Oh. The unicorn quickly glanced up at the displayed titles. Flanksplosions 3. Her answer was greeted with a flat stare. What? It's directed by Cleveland Bay. He's always good for a laugh. Sighing, the gray mare turned back to the bored-looking cashier. 2 tickets to... that, please. Now armed with a couple of little pieces of paper, the pair made their way past the ticket checker and into a short dark hallway. After emerging into a decently sized theater, they quickly climbed the stairs and claimed 2 seats in the middle of the back row. Since there were barely any other ponies nearby, Octavia took the opportunity to pose a few simple queries to her popcorn-guzzling friend. Flanksplosions? Really? Vinyl coughed a piece of popped corn forward a few rows and painfully swallowed the rest so she could answer. Ow! You got something against exploding flanks? I have something against bad movies. You haven't even seen it yet. Don't judge a book by its... flank? The cellist giggled at that and delicately ate a single piece of her own popcorn. That sentence trailed off a bit at the end. Yeah, it got away from me. Anyway, don't judge it till you watch it. It's hard not to judge when it has a name like that. Vinyl closed her eyes and rubbed her temples. Open your mind, little one. I'm only a couple of months younger than you. Shh, the movie's starting. And so began 154 minutes of violence and improper camera angles. In the midst of a particularly loud action scene, as unicorns riding Pegasus ponies wrecked the ground with spellfire and a giant robotic Luna tried to buck Canterlot off its mountain perch, Octavia glanced at her company. The reflection played over her blue hair, making the light streaks glow and enriching dark strands with deep color. Her eyes were still hidden behind purple glasses, but it was easy to tell that they were wide open, eagerly absorbing the sensorial bombardment. A thunder crack made the cellist jump, and a look towards the screen revealed that the monstrous princess of the night had erupted into a mess of scrap metal and fire. The dirt and grime splattered soldiers cheered triumphantly, and Vinyl punched the air with a hoof as the other shoved more popcorn in her mouth. The gray pony couldn't help but giggle at the DJ's enthusiasm. Vinyl noticed and tossed her a grin, thinking she was enjoying the movie just as much. I told you it'd be a laugh, she said, leaning closer to be heard. Oh, I'm certainly laughing, replied Octavia. She repressed the urge to mention that it wasn't the explosions that were tickling her funny bone. Later, in the penultimate romance scene between Dashing Star and Stunning Beauty, on the wreckage-littered slope of a volcano, the cellist noticed that much of Vinyl's previous energy had dissipated, and she now lay across 2 seats with her head resting upon Octavia's hoof rest. With a body like that, she could do way better, muttered the DJ. Her tinted shades turned slightly to peek up at the gray mare. Am I right? I suppose. I haven't really been paying much attention to him, Lottie. The glasses quickly faced the screen once more. Yeah, me neither. I was just saying, like, in general, whatever. Stunning Beauty's high-pitched voice cut through any thoughts that were being formed, shrill and feminine to the extreme. Oh, Dashing! You cannot confront the real Lunazilla! I love you! The stallion swept his mane back with one hoof. Not to worry, my dear. I'll just... He looked at the camera. Flanksplode her. Both the cellist and the DJ groaned in unison before breaking out into laughter. Fortunately, the overdramatic score drowned them out and prevented the 7 other patrons from getting bothered. When the lights finally came up and the credits rolled, the pair left their seats in good spirits. They laughed their way through the lobby and outside before calming down. Oh, Celestia, breathed Octavia. That was simultaneously the best and worst movie I've ever seen. Yeah, I hear that. The white unicorn rubbed her aching ribs. I haven't laughed that hard in months. What should we do now? What do you feel like doing? Maybe go for a walk? A smile slowly spread across Vinyl's face. Sounds good. And so the 2 mares trotted merrily away from the cinema complex and through the bright streets. Despite the length of the film, it was only early afternoon. a fact for which the DJ was grateful because it meant more time with her new friend. Under the warmth of Celestia's charge, they wandered freely down packed streets, observing the sights and sounds of a happy day in Manhattan. A gang of colts rushed past, hooting and laughing without a care in the world. 3 old mares sat on a bench and gossiped about other ponies around them, oblivious yet good-natured. Vendors hollered their wares as if it was a country town, only instead of tomatoes and apples, they had mobile phones and movies. A cart rumbled past, pulled by an old mule. It was stacked high with flowers of every color and kind, and every time the wheel hit a bump, a couple would fall onto the road. Seeing an opportunity, Vinyl darted forward and picked up a particularly delicious-looking sunflower with her teeth. Holding it by the stem, she turned to Octavia, who was watching with amusement. "Check it!" the unicorn mumbled around her prize. "Free lunch!" "That was on the ground," giggled the cellist. "It's a flower. They grow from the ground. Want a bite?" Octavia hesitated, but decided to go along with Vinyl's playful behavior. It hadn't steered her wrong yet. Leaning closer, she opened wide and bit 2 petals off delicately, bringing them into her mouth with a smooth flick of her tongue. The stem broke suddenly, with the flower cut into 3 pieces, one of which was between the DJ's teeth. She spat onto the floor, reddening with embarrassment. "Whoops, guess I held it too tightly." "That's okay. It wasn't a very good one. The petals were all papery." "Well, let me buy you a drink to get the taste out of your mouth," Vinyl suggested, jerking her chin towards a small cafe as the blush faded from her cheeks. Octavia tutted. "I can pay for my own drink." After a moment of silence, her eyes widened. "Oh, but, thank you for offering. I didn't mean to sound rude." "Come on, Octavia. I'm buying you a drink." The unicorn's tone was final, but she flashed a smile to show that she wasn't serious. The pair found a comfortable table in the back, shielded from the prying eyes of the street. After a few minutes of scanning the menu, a cream-colored mare approached to take their order. "Hey, what can I get?" "Oh dear," said Bonbon. Sudden, intensely awkward silence expanded like a bubble around the 3 of them. As much as Vinyl wanted to break it, she let caution decide her actions for once. Instead, surprising both her and the cellist, Bonbon was the one to look around nervously and lower her tone. "Listen, you can't tell anyone about this, okay? If Lyra and C-Top found out I'm working here, I'd never hear the end of it." "You... wait... work... huh?" Vinyl asked eloquently. "I just need this job to help with school. My shop is doing fine, really. The staff can take care of it while I'm here. Just please don't tell..." "Wait a minute. Wasn't your assignment to go to the movies?" Octavia considered quickly insulting the white unicorn beside her, but thought better of it. The game was compromised, but not unsalvageable. "Yes, it just finished." "Be subtle and she'll get the hint." "So, why are you being so chummy with..." "Oh!" Her eyes widened. "But then that means we were right! Psyche was..." "What are you talking about? We hate each other." Octavia leaned towards the waitress. "We hate each other, and you don't work at a cafe." "Oh." Bonbon quickly diverted her gaze to the table. "That's strange. I thought some pony was sitting here. Oh well." "Excellent." With all thoughts of drinking forgotten, Vinyl led her friend out of the cafe, avoiding eye contact with a certain waitress the entire time. "That was weird," she muttered once they reached the safety of the crowds. "I agree. However, I also think it went a lot better than it could have." "Yeah, you really saved our flanks. I was sitting there doing nothing like a tool, whereas you were all sexy persuasion mode on her." What mode, pardon?" Octavia wasn't sure if she heard correctly. "Super persuasion mode. It was pretty awesome." The DJ didn't seem to notice anything, continuing to walk happily onwards. "Thank you, I think. Our next class might be a little odd, though." "I reckon. So what do you want to do now?" She hated to be the one who suggests the obvious, but it couldn't be helped. "I think perhaps we should part ways for now, lest we are spotted by another classmate." "Oh." Vinyl slowed to a stop, slouching slightly. "Okay, that's cool. I've got a bunch of stuff to take care of anyway. Plus there's a party I'm running tunes for tonight." The cellist chuckled. "Sounds like you have your hooves full. Don't forget to study now." "Psh, studying is easy. It'll get even easier when I move into the student village." Octavia clapped a hoop to her mouth. "I forgot about that. So it worked out well with the scholarship ponies?" "Yep." She raised her head proudly. "They took care of everything, even found some pony who wants to share a dorm. Can't wait to meet him." Without pausing to think, the gray mare threw her hooves around Vinyl's neck. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Flushing considerably, the DJ awkwardly returned the hug. Well, it's just a dorm, though it will make my life way easier. Pulling away, Octavia didn't let her enthusiasm wane. Imagine if you were assigned to my dorm. I've been looking for someone to share with for weeks now. Vinyl's eyebrows shot up. Wait, really? Yes! How amazing would that be? She was grinning from ear to ear at the prospect. Yeah, pretty damn amazing. Listen, I should really get going. All that stuff I mentioned isn't going to do itself. Sorry, I'm holding you up. So, I'll see you soon? I'll call you tonight at the usual time. They shared a giggle. The usual time was in the early hours of the morning when neither of them could sleep. The DJ leaned slightly closer on reflex, as the cellist did. They gave each other a surprised look and backed up. So, yeah. Bye. Octavia was left to her confusion as the unicorn trotted away. For a moment, an interesting possibility entered her mind, but it was fleeting, and by the time she started walking back home, it was long gone. What can I help you with, Miss Scotch? The pale mare asked pleasantly. She had a streak of gray through her mane, giving her a distinguished yet friendly appearance. Is it possible to choose which dorm I get assigned to? The unicorn replied, fidgeting with her hooves. The office reminded her of her high school principals, bringing back a multitude of guilty memories. Chuckling softly, she slid her reading glasses off and placed them on the table, leaning back in the leather chair. I get that question a lot. You want to share with a friend? Vinyl nodded, feeling a little bit embarrassed for not considering how common this request would be. But I don't want her to know we're sharing. As in, I want it to be a surprise. I see. And who is she? Octavia. Gray Earth Pony, studies. The mayor nodded in recognition. Musical theory, history, and psychology. Yes, I remember her. We were lucky to get her here at all. Every university from Trottingham to Canterlot was vying for that little mare. Wow, really? The DJ leaned forward in surprise. You bet. She's one of the brightest young minds in Equestria. Sure, Vinyl had known that Octavia probably did really well at school, but she had no idea just how well. Her new friend, the gray mare with a gorgeous laugh and an awkward friend-making skills, was way smarter than her. It was an odd mix of emotions running through her mind at the moment. Resentment, jealousy, envy. But at the core, there was only pride. One of the brightest young minds in Equestria. Yeah, and also her best friend. She couldn't hold back the smile. There's a lot more to her than I first thought. The pony across from her cocked her head. You seem like a nice pony, and if you're sure Octavia wants you to share her dorm, then I can probably fix it up. She does, only she's hoping for a wild coincidence that puts us in the same room. I'm trying something a little more practical. Smart thinking. Well, if Octavia wants it, she'll get it. Can't risk upsetting her and getting a bad report. After a moment, the mayor gave Vinyl a stern look. Don't tell any pony I said that. Or that I'm helping you out. If other students found out I let you choose your dormitory, there would be rioting in the court. The unicorn started to laugh, but faltered under the continued gaze. I'm serious. It has happened before. Swallowing nervously, Vinyl stood to shake hooves with the mare. No worries. I won't tell any pony. Thanks for helping me out. Just like that, the pony was replaced by smiles and cheer once again. Not a problem. Have a nice day. A couple of moments later, the white mare stumbled down the stairs leading away from the admin building and planted her hooves on warm grass. The main court was winding down for the day as the afternoon got later and darker. For a few moments, a light breeze rolled through, carrying the scent of sunflowers. Vinyl looked in the direction of the student village and began to whistle. And that was chapters 3 and 4 of Vinyl and Octavia University Days by DawnFade on FimFiction.net. Thank you for listening, every pony. I hope you enjoyed. I was trying a new recording system, mainly just the, as I said before, the program in iMovie. I hope that works a lot better. I don't have a real mic, and I don't have the money for one, so I apologize. I know there are a lot of great voice actors in the community who do, but they probably have a little more of a budget. I just have my Mac. That's all my budget can afford. Okay. Well, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you will join me in the next reading. Like, comment, and subscribe, and check out DawnFade's other works on his FimFiction account. Alright, till the next reading, stay brony, everybody.